Hi, it's me, it's Monica, and you're not seeing my face, but I'm going to show you how to rethread a corset top. So basically, I purchased 3 corset tops at a vintage shop. I paid $5 for each one of them, and the reason I bought them was because they were 2 separate adjustable pieces that I could basically adjust into any size. So when I bought them, I could totally tell that they were tiny, right? These were made for some tiny little girl, 120, 130 pounds. They're Adore Me, which is a subscription service. Basically, Adore Me sends you a box filled with like lingerie, bra, panty, different kind of lingerie sets, and then you keep them or you send them back, and then you pay the monthly fee. Now, I've never subscribed to the service. It's, way too expensive for me. But when I ran across these 3 corset tops from Adore Me at a vintage shop in Morro Bay, I decided, you know what, I was going to go ahead and get them because I knew I could adjust them to fit me, even though they were made for somebody, honestly, probably half of my size. So basically, I wanted to make a video. I've already done 2 of them. This is the last one, the 3rd one, and I wanted to make a video just to show you, kind of how I do that. So basically, you'll see, that this is just the corset top laying on my bed. I have my level there, and the reason I have my level there is basically it's acting as my yardstick, as my measure tool. So I know for a fact that my bust size, including my breasts, is 45 inches. Sometimes I fluctuate, so I'm a 44, sometimes I'm a 46, but basically what I know right now is I'm pretty much a 45, and that's kind of what you need to know. So what you need to know to do this, to get this corset top to fit you properly, is you need to measure your breast size, including your busts, including your breasts. So basically you measure kind of around your nipples, right? And just know that inches, right? Use a measuring tape. And basically I know for sure, mine is 45 inches. So basically what I have to do is however wide this corset top is from, end to end, I have to make it 45 inches wide. So I'll show you how I do that now. So here in the next step, you'll see I've opened it up, right? So basically it was closed together with the eye hooks, right? You'll see it's, that's what it looked like before. So basically I undid the eye hooks and I opened it up, and then now I'm going to flip it around, right? So basically now you see that based on how this is constructed, right, there's no joining piece of material or anything else. There's no joining, instruments. So these are basically 2 separate pieces. And that's what you want to look for in a corset top. When you're out bargain shopping or you're out thrift shopping, you want to make sure that these are 2 entirely, completely removable separate pieces, right? Because what that means is then you can extend this part as far as you want, right? So if we're looking at this, I'll pull it down to one end, right? And so we're kind of starting there. And then I'm coming over here and we're going to see that's 28 inches. So basically the tiny little skinny little thing that was wearing this, who gave it away, she was 28 inches around in her bust size. I know that may seem impossible, but basically that's what this is telling me here, unless somebody else at the, thrift shop ended up, kind of pulling these together to make them smaller. But either way, basically this is sitting at 28 inches and I want to make it 45. So basically what I have to do at that point is I have to undo all of this, right? So I am basically going to unthread all of this ribbon and then extend the piece out and then redo my ribbon. So kind of what I end up doing is I undo all of this, and then at the very end, I leave the one string across the bottom just kind of in case, right? Just for some weird reason. You don't really need to, but I kind of tend to, just so that there's one piece holding it in place when I start to thread it. So basically, let me remove all of this, and then I'll show you what I do next. Okay, so now you can see that I have removed all of the ribbon that was holding the 2 pieces together, except for the one strand. And I have also stretched it out as far as it needs to go, right? So you see how big a gap that is, right? You see that this literally was meant for somebody, way, way smaller than me, yet I'm still going to be able to use it. I'm still going to be able to wear it. So basically I have this side over here at the very beginning of my yardstick, tape measure, you know, level, whatever you want to use. And then I have this one over here basically at, there we go, now it's at 45. So what I know by measuring my breast size is that that's how wide I need this to be. And so basically what I've done is I have gone to the craft store. This particular one I got at Michael's. You can get these at pretty much any craft store. And basically it's 10 yards worth of ribbon, right? This is basically the same width ribbon that came with it. And you can, you can choose. This is more of a satiny ribbon. I've done them in satin before. There's also some that are more kind of, they're more of a material. They're kind of more of a ribbed. And there you can see it's kind of more of like a ribbing. It's more of like an actual material. I don't know, sometimes those tie better. So, it doesn't really matter. You can pretty much, as long as the width's the same. And here you see that that's 6.3 millimeters, or it's 1/4 inch. And then you're going to need 10 yards. If you're doing, I'm 45 inches in that breast size, right? So my bust size is 45 inches. You'll need 10 yards. I know you don't think that you will, but realistically, you may end up with quite a bit at the end. But at the same time, you're going to need that 10 yards to feed it through and to get it in there right, and then be able to actually put this thing on you so that you can then, tighten it and tie it off in a bow. And what's nice about these corset tops like this, right, is basically what we're going to do is we are going to rethread all of this, right? And then when we clasp it, when we're done, we're going to use the eye hooks to clasp it, right? So basically I'm going to put it on like a bra that you clasp in the front, right? So basically all of this, all of the threading there, right? All of this threading, that goes on my back, and I wrap it around me, and I basically put the pieces with the eye hook together in the front and take it off. And basically what ends up happening is once you have done the threading, you put it on and you clasp it in the front, you turn it around on you like you do a bra, right? And then you pull tight the threading and you tie it off like a shoelace, right? Into a bow, just like a shoelace. And basically from that point on, you have set the width and set the size of it. And as long as you hook and unhook it, every time you put it on, every time you put the corset top on, you hook it from the front, unhook it from the front, hook it from the front, unhook it from the front. No matter how many times you do it, as long as you've tied that bow in the back really nice and tight, it's never going to come undone. So basically, I will never have to do or mess with any of this threading like ever again, right? You see what I'm saying? Once this part is all threaded and it's tied off, right? Then basically at that point, I never have to do it again. All I do is hook it and unhook it from the front. And basically I have taken a corset that was 28 inches wide, and I've made it into a corset that was 45 inches wide, basically with $3 worth of ribbon. So like I said, I got the corset top for $5, and I bought the ribbon for about $3. And so basically for $8, I have a corset top from a dormie that, I know this thing was probably originally like $30. Basically I have it for $8 and I'm going to use it. And if you go back and watch my videos, you'll see me wearing, these corset tops in them. Okay, so what I'm showing you now is basically I have unspooled this whole spool, right? So I opened this up and I basically unspooled all of the ribbon. And I unspooled all the ribbon because what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed this side through the top hole, and I'm going to feed that side through the top hole. And then once I've done so, I'm going to take this part and I'm going to pull it all the way 1 arm length back. And then I'm going to take this part and I'm going to pull it all the way 1 arm length back. And then I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to do that a second time. And I'm going to do it on this side a second time. And basically what I'm doing there is I'm feeding roughly the same amount of ribbon through each side, so that when I'm done with that, basically I have the middle of the whole 10 yards of ribbon right here. So that way when I'm done threading this thing, just like you do with the shoelace, right? You want them to be equal distance on either side. So let me start doing that and then I'll show it to you. Okay, so now at this point, I have done, like I said, and pulled 1 and then 2, and just back and forth, right? And basically I have ended up with the middle of the 10-yard spool right there. And I walk these back. You basically hold one in each hand and you walk back, back, back away until you get all the way to the end, and you'll be able to tell if you've done it right. You should have an equal distance on either side. And then basically what I do at that point is I just take it and I feed it through. You know, I pull the end all the way up and I feed it through, and I just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, trying to keep the ribbon as straight as possible, right? Like I want that to be flat, and then I'm going to want that one to be flat, and then when I go back, I'm going to want that one to be flat. So I'm going to do that now, and you'll see the finished result when I'm done. Okay, so now you see I have fed through the entire ribbon through the corset. It looks just like a big, you know, like it would your shoestring, right? I've made sure, just a couple pointers, I've made sure to keep these nice and flat, right? So that, you know, it's a complete flat line, complete flat line, complete flat line. That way it's not spun up, right? Like a bunch of different twists in the ribbon, because that's basically going to shorten the length of your ribbon, and you're going to need that full 10 yards to get it on in the first place. And so basically I fed it all the way through. You see I've removed that last piece of original ribbon. And so just a couple pointers. When you're doing the first couple loops, really the first 2 holes there, you want to make sure that you're double checking that you're at your 45 or whatever your bust size is, right? I want to make sure that I'm at 45, because otherwise, you know what I mean, this can kind of creep closer, it could creep farther, and you end up not at 45. After you've done about 3 of the little loops there, it's going to hold itself in place enough. But when you're doing the first 2 little holes, you got to be sure to double check that you're at your, desired width, because it'll kind of, like I said, creep smaller or bigger on you. When you're feeding the ribbon in, what I found works best is I fold it in half. I fold it in half and it goes right in through that hole really, really easily. So kind of keep that in mind when you're doing that. And then lastly, save the spool. Save the empty spool of ribbon, because you're going to have a nice length of ribbon from the original ribbon that you can use for something else. And so basically that's it. That's the ribbon that came with the corset top that I've spooled back on there, and now I'll end up using that for something else. I use the ribbons like these, I can use that for feeding it through a necklace. You can use it to tie around my neck as a choker. You want to say feeding it through a necklace, like a necklace charm, right? You can feed it through a necklace charm, use that instead of your chain. Think like old style vintage, like Victorian looks, when, a choker or a charm, something like that was on a, just on a ribbon. You can use it for that. You can just use the ribbon for choker, anything accented around your leg, anything like that. But so basically now what I do is I take this completed, the threading is complete. I basically take this corset and I wrap it around me like I would a bra that clasps in the front, and I basically hook it. And then once it's on me, I spin it around like you ladies that clasp the bra behind, you know what I mean? The bra clasp that's behind you, you do it in the front and then you spin the bra around. Basically, I do that with the corset, and then it leaves me with the threading in front. And basically at that point, I tighten it. Tighten you would like you're putting on a shoe, right? And I end up, you see, like you kind of end up with just a little bit here, but not to worry, because this isn't going to be perfectly perpendicular on you, right? You have a curve. And so these lengths are going to actually end up being shorter, and they're not all going to be exactly the same. So you're going to end up with enough ribbon on the bottom there to actually make quite a big bow, and ultimately in the end have enough ribbon left over. You could even cut some off still. So anyways, I just wanted to make a video to kind of show you that. You'll see me wearing these corset tops in my videos, and I hope that helps. Keep an eye out for these corset tops that are just 2 completely, totally separate pieces that fasten in the front, and then you can just relace it to make it any size you want, right? Remember how small that was. This thing was 28 inches wide when I started, and now it's a full 45 inches, and it's going to fit me. What else is nice about this, realistically, is you get, especially if you ladies with a sexy back, you know who I'm talking about, this is all open back, right? So basically this panel just kind of, my side is right here and right here. And you get just a little bit showing in the back. And then this is all open back. just your open, sexy back with nothing but ribbon back there. And it looks just so super cute. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know you're not seeing me. I thought of maybe trying to do this with me in it, but I just don't think it would have worked out as well, right? I don't think I would have been able to explain it as well. I was going to just take pictures and kind of talk through it, but then I thought, you know, well, let me kind of just do the video and just record it and see it. So I don't know, let me know if this helps. Let me know if you think this is something you could do, something you could try. Let me know if you've done this before, or let me know if, you know, you run across corset top after you've seen my video and go, oh my God, you know what, Monica, I bought one. It was a total like tiny little piece and I brought it home and I did what you said and it totally worked. So feel free to reach out to me. I am on Tumblr. I'm on Twitter. I am on Instagram. I am on Facebook. I am on VK. I am on YouTube. You just search for me, Monica Ann Hart, and you'll find me. And I'd love to hear from you. Reach out. Let's talk fashion or anything you'd like to talk about, you know, especially if you want to talk about rethreading corsets. I love you all. You're absolutely wonderful. Have a wonderful day.